Hi everybody, welcome in. This is Julie Maxon, the main stamper, and I am here for my regularly scheduled Monday 8 o'clock card making demo with you. And I missed you guys last weekend. Last Monday was Labor Day, so I didn't do a live demonstration last Monday. But I'm back. So I am so glad that you are here with me to do a little bit of stamping with me maybe, or inspire you to do some stamping. Tonight's card is a really simple card, and it's very beautiful too. Let me show you this card. Let me see if I can get this up here so you can see this beautiful card. There's not a lot to it. It's pretty simple. It's also very beautiful, right? This is with the Quiet Meadow stamp set and Meadow dies. Now we're going back to the annual catalog for this one. I typically case, which is copy and share everything, a sample that's in one of the catalogs. And I tell you guys time after time, and I have to tell myself time after time, the catalogs that Stampin' Up! Provides with their stamps and with their dies and with their punches and all their papers there's so much inspiration there. If you are stuck on a design, if you don't know what to create, pull out a catalog. Go online and look at a catalog. There are so many ideas. It's amazing. And you don't have to have the stamps, you don't have to have the dies, you don't have to have the exact paper, the exact color. Use what you have, but use the design in the catalog. You will have a beautiful card every time. And that's pretty much what I'm doing here on a Monday, is I'm copying a card. And then I turn around on a Wednesday over on Positive Paper Crafters and I show you another color version of it and ask you, of course, who wore it better, right? That's our Wednesdays over there, who wore it better. And I love that feature. I love to see you guys interact and guess. And I know that some of you guys tell me it's really, really, really hard to pick a favorite. Sometimes you guys are banging it right out, like I have a favorite no matter what. And sometimes you're like, I like them both, and that's okay. I like them both too, typically. But anyway, we are going to get working on our card tonight. This again is a very simple card, so it's not going to take super long. I am going to share a little tip on putting my putty tool on the Take Your Pick tool, because I have to do that tonight, so I'm going to load that up with you real quick. And I have an announcement at the end of my card making, so stick around to the end to check out the announcement. You don't want to miss this if you're a fan of all things Stampin' Up! So let's go to the workspace and check out this awesome card again. Let me get you guys over there. All right. Oh, and make sure you're saying hi as you jump on. I would love to see who is watching and where you guys are from. So again, this is the card that we're making. You're going to see this nice gold embossing on here. Pretty, right? Very simple layout. Here is the catalog, and here is their version of it, and here's my version of it, and it's pretty close to the same. I always feel victorious when I can actually kind of mimic a card, have it come out the same. This one has a funny little angle in it that we're going to talk about how to cut the angle to get your designer series paper to look kind of like this without crazy ideas. And this is elegant. It's got some embossing, it's got some pretty ribbon, it's got some bling, but it's just really simple. This is a very simple layer card. Now this is a crumb cake card base, and in the comments I would love to know, would you put an insert, would you put a white insert in this, or would you just stamp on this and write it and send it? As is, this is a very light card, and I am usually a heavy layer card maker, so as I touch and feel this card, I'm like, wow, this is so light. I personally will be putting a white insert in here, but I'm wondering what you guys do when you have a layer that's kind of light. Do you feel like a white insert is necessary? So we are on page 68 and 69 in the annual catalog. We are using the Quiet Meadow Cling stamp set and the Meadow dies. Now these have been around for a while. You may even have these in your arsenal of crafty supplies. This is a red rubber stamp set, and the dies coordinate, but they don't they're not bundled anymore. They're not the 10% bundled savings. They've been around for so long that they're no longer a bundle. You do have to purchase them separately. Now the reason I'm showing you an old stamp set may become apparent when I make my announcement later on after I get done with this video. So we have gone back old school. We are back in the annual catalog. We are also using this beautiful designer series paper, and I think I used this recently on one of my Monday cards. This is the Pretty Prints designer paper, and it's got some pretty prints in it, right? There's pretty much just 3 colors. You've got your Evening Evergreen, which is toward the back here. So Evening Evergreen, then you've got some Calypso Coral, you've got some Blackberry Bliss, and you've got some Bermuda Bay. So those are your 4 colors pretty much in this card pack. And it's a fabulous card pack as well. So let's get working on first refilling my putty tool. So if you have watched any of my videos, you might have seen my putty tool has come to its end. There's no more putty coming out of here, and this is refillable. This tool is awesome. This end also comes up and flips around if you need a pointy end. I usually keep it on the spatula, and because I use it most, and also because it's not sharp, so I won't cut myself or poke myself if I grab that out. But I had to reorder putty refills. Now they come in a little pack of 2 just like this, and I am going to simply put this back together again. So get rid of my old one here. And we got a whole new lid and everything, right? So I'm going to leave the lid on, and I'm just going to screw this into here. So it slides right in to here, and then you're just going to screw that in. I'm hoping I'm doing it the right way. I think I am. Pop this off and make sure. Yes. So you're screwing it in clockwise right there. Now to get the putty to come out, you have to turn it. Nope, I'm doing it wrong. Okay, we're going to just keep going here. This is live. Julie's trying to figure this out as she goes. All right, this goes in. Yep, I was pretty sure I could do this, and now I'm wondering if I can do this. Okay, I just feel like I'm turning it, and it's not. Oh, yep, it's coming out. Wow, it's really hard to come out. Okay, so I can just see a little bit of putty coming out. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Oh, yep, here it comes. So it's kind of like pushing its way out now. All that pressure of me pushing on it for so long. I'm just going to kind of ball that up and push that back down. So this putty will come up as you twist this. So it will go clockwise. You will twist it. It will come up. That's how we're going to do this. It's been so long. Like, these things last for so long. I was at the end and it got super sticky and gummy. So this one is much nicer. I will be using this on my embellishments later. But I do love this little putty, and it's great for picking things up. Little things, because you can just simply put it down on something small and it will pick it up for you, because it's just tacky enough to hold, but it's not tacky enough to stick. So there we go. I did it. I was like struggling there for a minute. This was live, but I did it, so lessons are learned here, right? I hope you guys learned with me. We're going to make this card, and this is a really simple card. There's not a lot of parts and pieces to it. I am going to talk to you about slicing this paper, but we're going to first just do some background stamping. So in the Quiet Meadow stamp set, we have splotchies, which is one of my favorite kind of stamps, splotchy stamps. We've got this beautiful flowers. We've got some great sentiments. We are going to do tone on tone with the crumb cake ink and crumb cake paper. So we're getting the tone on tone. And I just have a scrap paper behind here so that as I stamp, it doesn't go off onto my background paper too much. So I'm just going to kind of come along here and do some stamping. I'm going to turn my stamp around a little bit here and there, but really just filling in all of this background, keeping in mind that part of this is going to be covered up by our designer paper. So I really don't need to do too much here where that designer paper is going to go. Now this is a very forgiving stamp. You can stamp over and over top of it, and it's not one of those where you have to worry about not hitting another one because it's going to look odd. Totally fill this up with like little polka dots. It's a lot of fun to do this, and if you're a new stamper and you enjoy stamping, this kind of a background is super awesome because you can just keep stamping away, practicing on your stamping, and there it goes, just like that. So let's talk about this designer paper and how we're going to cut it to get this angle that starts low on the left and it kind of comes up here toward the right. So for this, I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and we're going to talk about the ways in which to do this. Because you might look at this paper. Now this is a rectangular piece of paper. This is 4 3/4 by 2 3/4, in case you're wondering. I want to make this card at home. I need the bottom left to be the long point, and I need it to come up. I need it to come from this angle up this way, right? So we're going to cut it, and we have to figure out how does it fit in the trimmer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the bottom corner that I want long right here in my track. So this is the cutting track right here. And I'm actually going to angle my paper to the angle that I want to cut. So I don't want to cut off like too much. I'm not making a super steep cut. I'm kind of just doing a gentle angle. So I'm going to just move my paper. So I'm rotating the right side upwards, right? So the right side's coming up. And then when I cut it, if you need a visual and it's on your trimmer, just put a ruler or something down like this. So you can see your angle is right here. This is the side that will stay. This is the side over here that will cut away. That makes sense. So I've got my left corner in the track and I've got the right corner. It's actually lined up with 2 centimeters, which you probably can't see because it's way up at the top, which is more like 1 3/4 of an inch. So that's where I'm going to put it. It doesn't have to be an exact science. I'm going to put the track down and I'm just going to cut, and that's going to give me my really awesome angle. So now you can see that fun angle right there. And it's a lot easier to use your trimmer, get a straight cut, although mine's a little jagged here. Probably need a new blade. Rather than grabbing out some scissors and trying to like cut it by hand, because if you use scissors, you're most likely going to get a crooked line. So if you can remember this trick about putting it into your trimmer and rotating the paper, I think that's a really awesome way to get that that design that we're looking for right here, where we're keeping our paper long on the left and then angled up on the right. So there we go. And now that this is beautifully cut, we need to emboss it and make it really, really pretty. So let's bring in our big flower stamp. We're using this one today, and we are going to do some gold embossing. I'm just going to bring in my embossing buddy here and kind of rub this around, get all the static and fingerprints and what have yous off of there. I'm going to bring in my gold embossing powder, and I keep mine in little containers with a spoon to make it kind of easy to use. And then the Versamark ink, we're going to put the ink pad upside down and just stamp this onto our stamp. We're inking our stamp up is what I'm trying to say, and probably not very well. More is better. When you're doing heat embossing, you definitely want as much ink, a thick saturation of ink on your stamp, because the more ink you have on the paper after you stamp it, the better your powder is going to stick. And I'm just letting it kind of soak into the paper here. I'm just holding it down for a couple of seconds. That soaks into the paper a little bit deeply. And of course you can't really see the image on here, maybe just a shadow of it. I'm going to go in here and scoop out my powder, bring it down through. I think I got it pretty good. So here is the powder on here. Now this is dry powder right now, but how pretty would this be even if you just stamped it in like a soft suede, like a brown color ink on this paper? Would be really pretty. Just this color is really pretty, but we're going to make it even better by heat embossing it. I'm going to turn on my heat tool and let that run for just a second, and I'll put my paper on my handy little holder. And it's time to make it pretty. So it's going to go from a dull powder look to a real pretty shiny gold. And hopefully you can see that as we go up and over. I love watching the gold just kind of run as the heat hits across it. It gets everything beautifully done. And it doesn't take a lot. You don't need to, as soon as you see that everything is shiny, you know, take a look at it, turn it in the light, make sure you've got all things shiny. If everything is shiny on it, you're done. You don't have to keep heating it, because you're just going to melt the powder too much. So stop when you're certain that it looks beautiful. You don't have to continue. And I'm going to bring in my silicone mat, and I'm going to bring in this little tiny strip of Designer Series paper, and we're going to glue these two together because we want this little hint of blue here on the edge. You can just see it peeking out. So I'm going to flip these over because I've got them kind of lined up how I want them. I'm going to bring in some glue, and I'm just going to put some glue here on the edge of my Calypso Coral paper. And now I'm going to put this Bermuda Bay over top of it. Now the green glue here is going to allow me to flip this over, and obviously a little crooked. You can kind of see it's crooked here. So I have the ability with the green glue to kind of squish this around a little bit. I can move this really easily from the back. Just kind of slide it into place. Make sure that I have it just where I want it to be. Now I cut this as 4 inches and it is just a smidge long here. So I am going to bring in my scissors and kind of finagle where the edge comes from the calypso so that it looks like the blue also comes up in that same angle. So I just trimmed off the smallest little piece there. But there we go. So that part is all set. This actually can go on our card front right now. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Because it was heat embossed and because it's designer paper, there's a little bit of buckling going on here. So I don't know if you can tell from this or not. There's a little bit of like bending, buckling going on. It's not a flat paper right now. It will dry flat on here after I've got the glue on here. I'm going to just press this down and it'll be perfectly fine when it's done. Designer paper is thinner than cardstock. And that way, and that just means that when you do things like heat emboss or different techniques on it, it makes the paper a little curly, a little bit curly. So there we go, just like that. Already so pretty, right? Okay, so now we're going to work on our sentiment and our little butterfly up here. Isn't that sweet? So we're going to bring in Bermuda Bay ink with our sentiment that says "You're too kind." And I'm just going to stamp that on a scrap here real quick. And I love how bold this blue is. It's just so pretty, right? So we've got that on there. Close this ink back up. And I'm not actually stamping the butterfly. The butterfly is actually just a die. Move some stuff over so I can bring in my boss machine here. The big boss coming in. Okay, we'll get it set up here. And got my plates ready to go. We're going to bring our sentiment piece in. We're going to bring in this little scrap. And these are the only 2 dies that I'm actually using from this die set. This one is for the sentiment. So we're just going to put this down over "You're too kind." And the butterfly is just a really nice little sideways butterfly. We don't have a stamp that matches it, so it just gives us the image. Make sure that's exactly where I want it. I think that's good. All right, I'm going to back this out just a little bit, put my clear plate on it, push it down and hold it in place. So I'm keeping my fingers on there until I can't. And that just keeps my dies secured so that they don't slip off the paper, because my plate here is just a little bit bowed. And I do have to work on getting my plates flattened back out again. But look at how awesome this cuts out with some little stitching, and it cuts out with some sweet little open scallops on the end. I just think this is fantastic. I really love it. Now this is big enough that you could actually sneak a ribbon through. So you would tuck the ribbon through each end, and you could have ribbon coming off of each side, which would be really pretty. I'm going to put my magnets back over there so I don't lose them. Just a little cleanup here and there as we go. Now we have to do a little bit of sponging, so I'm bringing this back in. And you maybe you're wondering, why am I stamping on gift certificate pages? I print off gift certificates for people that order them, and this my ink obviously didn't give me very good images, so I'm calling this a scrap paper. But if you're shopping for gift certificates and you would like one through my store, just let me know, or let whoever knows that's shopping for you for your birthday or whatever occasion that you would love a Stampin' Up! Gift certificate to my store, because I do offer those. All right, so we're bringing in some Daffodil Delight. Pretty sure this is Daffodil Delight. Oh, this is Mango Melody. Interesting. And I'm going to take my very cute white butterfly, and I'm just going to give it a little touch of yellow. And you know, I really thought this was daffodil. When I grabbed this ink out earlier, that might be explaining why it's darker than I thought it was going to be. Mango Melody is not my favorite color. It's that, I guess it's a good color for fall, but this is a nice light version of it. You can barely see that little bit of yellow, but it's just enough when it's on the card. Lift this up a little bit. You can just see that hint, perhaps, of the yellow. So that's the mango. I thought this was daffodil. Okay, moving on, we're going to put a little bit of, this is Coastal Cabana is going to just come up here. So this is the sentiment before I'm going to sponge it. And I'm just going to bring in a little bit of blue off to the side over here and kind of on the bottom, but just in one area. I'm not going to do the whole thing blue, and it's just going to give that, if I can pick that back up again, just a little bit of blue here on the side. And that's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to show you when we get our card put together again why it's so nice to have the blue on the left side of the sentiment. So let's bring in our card, and now we get to bring in the pretty things. Actually, we're done with all the stamping and all the messy stuff, so I can get rid of my scrap. Pretty ribbon. This is a white ribbon that has silver on the edges. Super pretty, right? I'm going to bring in my ribbon cutting scissors, and I always work off the spool because I hate to like guess how much I'm going to need. So when I'm working with ribbon off the spool and I want to make this little swooshy pattern like this on my card, I'm just going to put this down here, hold it, and I'm going to wrap the ribbon back up this way, and I'm going to put my finger in there to hold it, and I'm going to pull the ribbon back down this way. And this gives me my little swooshy. So hopefully you can see the swooshy here behind my finger where I have this tucked. So this is telling me how much ribbon I need. And I'm going to trim this. I'm going to trim this right about here. We're going to go up at an angle. So if I cut it at an angle, I've got a nice angle going from start to finish. And I'm going to bring in some tear and tape. Find my tear and tape. This is my best friend in the craft room. Speaking of best friends, I just had my bestie here. Hi Jane, if you're watching, I miss you. Jane came to Maine and visited with me this past weekend, and we had ladies craft time all weekend long. It was so much fun. Such a good time. So I just wanted to say I had an awesome weekend. I hope you guys all had a good weekend too. So I've got this sticky tape, just a strip of it right here, where I know that I'm going to be putting my sentiment over top. So I've already got that figured out where I want it to go. So I'm just doing the same, I'm repeating the same steps from when I cut my ribbon. I'm just bringing it up and down in that little swooshy kind of a way. And you can actually, if you're not happy, you're like, oh, maybe I want to move that over a little bit, you can pick this up. It's forgiving enough. You can pick it up. You want to be gentle with it because there is tape on here. You don't want to rip the whole thing off of your card. But it is movable if you're like, oh man, something didn't sit quite right. But that's just a nice little bit of ribbon right there that kind of accents our gold flowers. I'm going to bring in next some dimensionals. And we're going to pop up, do a little dimensional shopping here. We're going to pop this guy up with one on each end and the very ends, because it's going to go over top of the ribbon. So we don't need to put anything in the middle where it would be bumpy if it was sitting on top of the ribbon. And we're going to put that right about there. You're too kind. Really pretty, right? And then this little butterfly is going to get a dimensional too, but he's going to get a mini because he's really tiny. And I love that there's minis and large dimensionals for different size projects. So he's just getting one. You could probably sneak two on here if you felt the need, but I think that one is plenty, sufficient, and it's going to hold him on here. We're going to kind of angle the butterfly just so he's looking like he's heading into that flower. And here, here's a look at where we're at right now, right? Duplication, pretty easy. This is a really easy, like I said, easy card. It's a simple card. We're going to bring in some elegant faceted gems and my beautiful take your pick tool. And this is where I'm going to use this little bit of putty. Now these are on these like slippery window sheet type things. There's adhesive on the back. So if I put my sticky putty end down on top of the embellishment and slide it off, I have it on here, and then I can just bring it over to my card, and of course it falls off just as I get here. I'm going to pick it up, flip it over, pick it up. Now it's sticking. It's like Monday laws, right? Okay, one there. We're going to put one here. Come on, buddy. One over here. And my putty is acting kind of silly today. Silly putty. All right, there we go. And I'm taking a small one and I'm going to put one up here. Now the original card, I think they used another one up here. I think they might have used another one down here. They might have used 5 or so. I really like 3 on a card. You can just kind of see them. They're kind of watery looking, water effect. And this is just a nice little pattern here. This is the implied path of the embellishments, and it just kind of gives your eye, it kind of comes down this way, but it's a different angle, a little bit different angle from the paper cut. When I talked to you about sponging the blue on this side, and I said I would talk to you about the balance here, the blue over here balances out the blue over here. So you can see there's blue on both sides of the card. So not all the blue is on this side. If I had sponged this side would be blue heavy, and it would feel heavy this way. So when you're thinking about color and you're thinking about embellishments, think about balance too. So this gives you a little bit of a balance here, this blue to that blue. But look how pretty and fantastic and beautiful. And was this not simple? I feel like this was a really simple card. So gorgeous. Love this one. Now you can of course swap this out. I did say this would be good for any season. You swap out your designer paper, you swap out your sentiment, you swap out your element. You can make a birthday card, you can make a Christmas card, you can make a Thanksgiving, you name it, you can make it, because as crafters we're really, really good at being super crafty. So that was my card. Just under half an hour, the sweet spot. I love being in that time frame with you. Hi Linda, hi Jess, Jackie. Thank you, Jackie. I love this card too. I thought it was really beautiful. I feel like the annual catalog is a blur. It comes out in May now, and then in July we've got the holiday catalog. So everyone's thinking about the holiday catalog. And then in January, the spring catalog comes out, and everyone's thinking about the spring catalog. And the annual catalog only has a couple of months to shine, a couple of months for people to look through it and go, ooh, that's really pretty. So sometimes we got to go back to the annual catalog, back to the basics, really. This is like a very basic kind of a card, basic stamp set. And the reason that I pulled out an oldie but a classic is that there is a possibility something like this will be on sale on Wednesday. So today is the 12th, today is Monday. Is Wednesday the 15th? No, Thursday. 12, 13, 14, 15? Now I'm confused. Whatever day the 15th is. Let me look at my calendar real quick. Let's make that Thursday. Thursday the 15th, Stampin' Up! Is running a one-day only sale on specific stamps from the annual catalog. So just the stamps. It's not going to be bundles. I don't know what list of stamps they're going to be running, but it's going to be 15% off for Thursday the 15th only. So they will be probably dropping a list to demonstrators that we can share with our customers so that you can check out that list. And if there's something that you'd like, the 15th would be a really great day to do a little bit of shopping and save some money, because who doesn't want to save money, right? So don't put it in order. If you're thinking about ordering in the next few days, stop, don't order yet. Wait until that list comes out so that you can see which stamp sets are on there, and if there's nothing on there that you want, no harm, right? Continue about and order whatever you like. But if you're looking for a deal, I would wait until the list comes out. I'm not sure when they're going to drop that list. It could be tomorrow during our announcements. It could be Wednesday. Keep an eye on my newsfeed here. I always share everything that I can with you. So if you're following me here on the main Stamper page, hit those notifications so that you can get notified when I post. I don't post a ton of posts and information and videos. There's not a million things for you to look at. So Facebook maybe not showing you everything that I do, but if you're interested in that sale, the stamp sale, come back and look in the next few days. You're going to be hearing me probably talk about it or post about it or whatever. So that's really exciting. I always love when they pop in and do like a surprise thing, because who doesn't love a sale, right? So anyway, thanks, Jess, for loving the colors on this card. I will be doing, of course, a color swap on Wednesday. So let me know on Wednesday if you like the colors on the next card even better. So that is it from me. If you guys have any questions on the upcoming sale, on this card, on stamping in general, please go ahead and pop over into the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. I love to read all of your comments. I appreciate hanging out with you guys and enjoying a little bit of crafting time together. And until next Monday, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and share the love. Bye, everybody.